Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the new Alice in Wonderland collection from Mooncat. So this dropped today, June 23rd, so I will link the Mooncat website down below where you guys can check this out, and we'll do a quick little overview here. So it comes in this really cool collector's box. Fun fact, I actually had to play this clip backwards because the drawer was really hard to open, but it flips up, pulls out. There are 3 magnetic polishes, a file, 3 non-magnetic polishes, and a pack of nail art stickers. The nail art stickers actually come with 2 sheets, which I thought was pretty cool because I kind of stress out about using stickers. I feel like I'm going to run out, but there are 2 sheets of the stickers in here. And then a Alice in Wonderland edition glass nail file, and then the polishes. Really cool artwork across the boxes that the polishes themselves are in and the whole collector's edition box. So 3 kind of iridescent, flaky, dusting of holographic shimmer kind of polishes in here, and then there are also 3 magnetics, which are a pretty wide range of what you can have in a magnetic polish, from very light to really dark, strong magnetic. So everything here is limited edition. Mooncat is usually pretty good about making sure that they have a good amount of stock on limited edition collections like this, but you never know. So 6 polishes altogether, and I will get into the swatches. The first polish is called You Play Croquet, and this is described as a light orchid pink with color-shifting iridescent flakies, soft pink shimmer, reflective glitter, and micro holographic glitter. And I'm swatching these over some short almond gel extensions because that's just who I am right now. This is a bit sheer on that first coat, but the flakies and the holographic glitter and everything that's in there stand out really nicely. The flakies had a pretty strong pink shift in person that I couldn't get to pick up super well on camera. 2 coats looked pretty good over these extensions, but I think with a white nail line you would probably want 3. I added a 3rd coat anyway just to see if it would deepen the color, and it did pretty significantly change the color, which I like a lot better in 3 coats. So I'm going to call this one a 3-coater, even though I did have good coverage in 2. Natural nails, depending on your preference for opacity, would probably want 3 coats. And that base color does not crowd out or drown out any of the elements that are in there. You can really pick each individual additive, I guess, out really well. So that is 3 coats of Do You Play Croquet. The next polish is called Wish I Hadn't Cried So Much, and this is described as a blue polish with blue shimmer, color-shifting iridescent flakies, and micro holographic glitter. This one is also pretty sheer on the first coat. The base color is pretty much made up out of that blue shimmer that's in there, so it is going to take a little bit to build up. I love the flakies in this one. First, there's a ton of them, but they have a really cool, very ethereal, iridescent, blue-green, slightly gold shift, and I like it a lot. I really did not expect to like this one as much as I do. So this is still pretty sheer on that second coat. It's definitely going to be a 3-coat polish, but that icy kind of silvery blue shimmer is building up pretty nicely, and it doesn't drown out any of those holographic specks or those iridescent flakies. This built up pretty well for me in 3 coats. I do think on a natural nail with a whiter nail line, you might still be able to see some nail line through it, but it's going to be pretty minor. So that is 3 coats of Wish I Hadn't Cried So Much. The next polish is called A Very Merry Unbirthday, and this is described as a purple polish jam-packed with shifty blue shimmer and color-shifting blue to purple multi-chrome flakies. Also a little bit sheer here, but really not that bad. You get a pretty decent purple coverage out of the base. The multi-chrome flakies kind of caught me by surprise here. Obviously I can pick them out now looking at it in the bottle, but from the bottle to the nail it looked very different than what I was expecting. I like them, I dig it. But I was very pleasantly surprised by this kind of almost speckled look that those multi-chrome flakies give it. The base color builds pretty well on that second coat. I did want to do a 3rd kind of safety coat just to see what it would look like. I like that on the second coat those multi-chrome flakies weren't really getting drowned out. Could definitely still pick them out in the 3rd, but they're a little bit more subtle. So I can't really decide what I like better here. I like the more scattered speckled look of 2 coats, but it is going to take 3 coats for it to be fully opaque on a natural nail, so I guess it's up to you. So that is 3 coats of A Very Merry Unbirthday. The next polish is called Bread and Butterflies, and this is described as a golden yellow magnetic filled with color-shifting pink to green to gold iridescent flakies and micro holographic glitter. It says that it reveals a subtle green magnetic aura. So there were a few things in the literature about this polish, specifically about it being more of an optional magnetic, which I think all magnetics are optional, and it was more of a subtle magnetic effect. I didn't really find it to be that much more subtle. I more view it as it's just a lighter color, so it's a little less obvious. But if this is subtle magnetic, sign me up, because I really, really like this. It's definitely sheer on that first coat. It pulls this green shimmer. The magnet pulls this green shimmer to the center. So it's this really cool moving green stripe through the polish. And like with most magnetics that have other elements mixed in, once you pull all that magnetic pigment to the magnet, it makes everything else outside of that stripe stand out really well. In this case, it's those iridescent flakies. But that does make the non-magnetized area of the polish a little bit sheer because you're not getting any coverage from that shimmer, so you do end up needing 3 coats to compensate. I also don't think I've mentioned formulas at all. The formulas on these are fantastic. You will want top coat to smooth those elements out, but none of them are going to be difficult to remove. They're just going to look like a little bit uneven if you don't use a top coat. I really like this. I was not expecting to like this as much. This one was not on my radar at all when I first opened up the package, and now it's one of my favorites. I think it looks sweet. I really like the green shimmer and the rainbow shift that the iridescent flakies have. Because this was mentioned as being an optional magnetic, I did add an extra coat to the top of everything just so you could see an unmagnetized version of it, but that is 3 coats of bread and butterflies. The next polish is called Cheshire Cat, and this is described as a purple magnetic polish filled with multicolored iridescent flakies and micro holographic glitter that reveals a bright pink magnetic stripe. Good coverage on this, really strong magnetic effect, and I like that it doesn't get super sheer where it's not magnetized, and those flakies that are in there just glow underneath that base. They contrast so well with how dark that base is. So this is a pretty solid 2-coater for me. The base was nice and opaque, so it covered completely in 2 coats, and I really like how well you can see those flakies and those little tiny holographic bits, even though the base has built up pretty well. And I did add an extra coat to this just so you can see what it looks like unmagnetized, because the last polish and the description of the last polish made me realize that that's probably a good idea. So that is 2 coats of Cheshire Cat. And the last polish is called Mad Hatter, and this is described as a black magnetic polish jam-packed with micro holographic glitter and green and purple multi-chrome flakies, and then it says it has a rich green magnetic stripe. The coverage is great on this. The magnetic effect, look at that, is super, super strong and sharp on this one. Like, I can't believe how strong it is. Also, those little multi-chrome flakies and those holographic bits and the unmagnetized part show up so nicely, and they contrast really well against that black jelly. This covered really well for me in 2 coats. Just remember that when you're using magnetic polishes, if you want to preserve that strong stripe as much as you can, not only do you want to keep the nail on the magnet or the magnet on the nail, however you do it, as long as possible, but also remagnetize it after your top coat, because that top coat can kind of loosen the polish up a little bit at first and make everything settle more. So that is 2 coats of Mad Hatter. I did add an extra coat so you could see it unmagnetized, but I think not magnetizing this one would be doing it a disservice. So my favorites actually really surprised me in this entire collection. I really like Bread and Butterflies. It's beautiful. I love that green magnetic pigment that's in there. I was not expecting to like that one as much as I did. And I feel the same way about I Wish I Hadn't Cried So Much. I don't usually go towards like really icy blue polishes, especially ones that have a lot of different elements mixed in, but I really, really liked how that one looked on my nails. I do think I like Bread and Butterflies the best out of the 2 though. So that is the new limited edition Alice in Wonderland collection from Mooncat. Again, I will link the Mooncat website down below where you guys can check those out. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later.